welcome to this episode of my Women Empowerment Wednesday show. My name is Jessica DSB. Enjoy this episode.
Happy Wednesday, everyone! Woo-hoo! My name is Jessica. For those that are just joining me, don't know me, who I am is a proud mom. I am an entrepreneur, 2 times best international selling author, passionate world traveler, and I'm the founder of the Women Empowerment Wednesday show. Super excited to be back with you. We've been off for 2-3 weeks. Happy New Year for those that haven't watched the video that I posted a few days ago. I'm talking fast because we have a lot to talk about today and I want to just, have all that time, right? So welcome to all of you. What is the Women Empowerment Wednesday show? It's a weekly Facebook Live, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have conversations with a special guest every week that are empowering, touching, inspiring. Not only a conversation with me and the special guest, but this is a movement where we bring those conversations in the lives of the people that you care about, your family, your friends. If you're just joining me this week, New Year, awesome, welcome. I have a Women Empowerment Facebook group by Jessica DSB. All my videos, we are episode 36 today. Thank you again for all my followers, all my special guests on the show last year. So if you want to watch all the episodes, they're on there. And again, thank you for everybody that's been following me. I'm really, really appreciative. I'm very grateful. Last thing I want to say, I am doing a special edition right now for January, February, maybe March, because I have a lot of people I want on the show. So maybe March, but special edition of flight attendants. Why? For those that know me personally, I am a flight attendant for the last 10 years, almost 11 years this year. I haven't been flying in almost a year. I can't wait to be back in the friendly skies. It's okay, I'm patient. But I'm doing the special edition of the Women Empowerment Wednesday show with flight attendants only for the next 8 weeks because we were the most impacted industry in the whole world with this pandemic, but also because I'm very passionate about being a flight attendant and I want and need for all of you to hear these amazing, incredible stories from these fellow flight attendants, my family, Air Canada family, how we use this pandemic, to work on passionate, empowering, inspiring, impactful projects. And every week I will have a special guest. I'm so excited every week. So this week, Merav Richter, flight attendant for 25 years. I can't wait for you to hear all about that. She is a 3 times best-selling author. She is a 2 times TED speaker. Woo! Oh my God, that is one of my goals. Woo! Robin Madain certified coach. And this is what I love. Powerful advocate for giving voice to the voiceless. Woo! I love that. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, Jessica. I love that. And it's so funny that you mentioned our flight attendant family, our fellow flight attendants, because in case you have never actually seen flight attendants in plain clothes and you wonder, or did they just go to work when they put on their uniform and put on that fake smile? No, this is actually how we are. The airline doesn't hire us and train us to be bubbly and smiley. They actually hire bubbly and smiley and fun people. And this is what I miss the most, my fellow flight attendants. We work with the best people in the world. Or maybe it's that traveling around the world and having fun everywhere made us this way.
Who knows?
Rhetorical question, who knows?
It was this morning because I miss everything. I miss my colleagues, I miss flying, I miss my work, I miss being in the uniform, I miss traveling. And this morning I'm like, oh my God, I can actually connect now for the next 2 months to my family, my flight attendant family. So it kind of gave me that relief, that happiness. I'm like, wow, I'll be able to share, so, I'm like, I was so excited. So thank you for being here. So for those that are just seeing you for the first time, let me hear from you who you are. I shared a little bit more, but what would you like to share about who you are?
Yeah, you shared so much great, beautiful stuff. So definitely 25 years in the airline has created me. I mean, really, I've had more time being part of the airline flying than I've had doing anything else. I mean, I literally have more than half my life that I've been flying. And so definitely it created me, right? It is such a big part of the story of who I am and what I'm about. And as you know, as flight attendants, one of the biggest things that we have, sure, it's fun to go on layovers, and sure, I mean, we have a very dynamic workplace, but also one of the things is that we know it's, for all of those who are not flight attendants, there's something called galley talk. When during, we turn off the lights and all the passengers go to sleep or they're watching their movies, and we're awake in that back galley or the front galley, but we're awake and the lights are dimmed and we're whispering and it becomes very intimate. And we're there, if a passenger needs us and for emergencies and for medical aid, but in between that time, we're whispering to each other all of our stories and our secrets, and we're getting to know each other very, 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 very intimately. And sometimes that is better than therapy. It's better than the friends, who don't have this kind of experience, because it becomes this very intimate, almost as if it's a therapy session, because it's so quiet and so intimate between us. And then, as much as I love that part of my life, about 7 years ago, it's really started itching for me, this storytelling, this idea of I want to do something bigger. I want to give a bigger message in the world. And in fact, going on layover, I would start writing and writing and writing and writing. And I would find myself maybe sitting in a cafe somewhere, or on the steps in Jerusalem, or, in a cafe in Paris, or like anywhere around the world. And I would just find myself writing. And eventually, and that was just my sort of mental stimulation. Eventually, I slowly but surely wrote a novel. And then I entered that novel into a spiritual fiction contest, and I won. I won a contract, and right, and it changed my identity. That, before that, I thought of myself as an aspiring author, that one day, someday in the future, that changed it, that it was like, no, you're an author now. It was a new identity. And then that publishing house taught me how to build a platform on Facebook and build, and promote myself and do the marketing. And as I started doing that, even though the first book was a novel, it had themes around women's empowerment and women's spirituality and the divine feminine. And this was in a time when people weren't talking about that yet. The whole goddess movement and women's empowerment, and before Me Too and before Time's Up and before all that. So I started being very vocal and giving voice in that world. And because I was explaining so much about women's energy and our hormones and our empowerment, in speaking about that on those platforms, the audience started to ask me to please bring out a nonfiction book, something that really explains the different energy centers in women and how we lean more towards masculinity and what that does for us and how we really need to bridge the Eastern wisdom and the Western wisdom and bring them together. And that became my second book, and I published that. And then in 2018, my daughter, who was 9 then, she's 11 now, she turned to me and she said, "Mama, I want to write a book with you." And here I was, writing to empower other women all around the world. And my number one woman got empowered. And so my daughter and I, yeah, right? Because it doesn't really matter how many people you impact with your story, with your message, with your book. If your number one woman if one woman around you gets impacted in ways that you didn't even know she would be impacted, it's like I always say, your daughter isn't watching for what you do, she's watching for who you are, right? It's who you are that she wants to step into a legacy, and your sons too. She wants to step into the legacy of who their mom is in the world. And so my daughter and I wrote that book, and then that just changed her identity, and that created a non-for-profit organization, and that created a whole movement. And I'll be happy to share a lot about that, but whew, that was me in a nut, a coconut, a big nut. That was me in a nutshell, but a big coconut.
And I was gonna say, caution for those that are not in the aviation industry. We might, have you take a mini vacation, like a Zoom vacation today, because we'll be talking about traveling and all that fun stuff. Warning.
Yeah.
I love it.
Buyer beware. If you listen to us, you may want to go traveling.
It's coming. Be patient. We'll enjoy so much. So welcome to all of you that are watching live. Chrissy, Nadia, Isabel, Melanie says that's lovely. Thank you. I am empowered to finishing mine. Yes, girl, Melanie, Montreal base. I love her. Thank you for being on there and watching. If you're watching live, type live in the comments. If you're going to be watching replay, type replay. And I also want to hear what you like best about this conversation, and also what you'd like to hear in the next coming weeks, because I'm always looking for different topics. There's so much to talk about, but I want to hear from you, the audience that are watching. What would you like to hear? So today, like I said, we have lots to talk about. We picked goal setting. Yes, January 6th, 6 days into 2021. Everybody was so excited to be in the new year. And we wanted to talk about goal setting. Why should people do goal setting? Right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm asking you. I was gonna elaborate, but I'm gonna ask you, why should people set goals?
Okay. I'll say, and then I'm going to ask you the same to answer to.
Sounds good.
People should set goals, because if you don't know where you're going, then how do you know where you're going to get? I don't think I have a different way of setting goals, but it's kind of like if you get into your car, you'll put into the GPS the address of where you're going. When a pilot gets into a plane, he's putting in the directions for where to go, like the navigation route. We need to set goals. It's the way we've been taught to set goals that has made, especially resolutions, we're basing them in a very masculine way, and women need to set goals in a very different way, because they're not effective. Because how many times does it happen? You set your goal December 31st, by January 7th, you've given up on your goal. Your mind goes, oh, well, you're not accountable. We can't count on you. And your subconscious mind starts going, by February, you've given up the gym membership. You're sitting on the couch and, oh, forget it. Now, why do you think we should set goals?
Oh my God. It is actually what you just said about the GPS. It's actually a quote from our mentor, Mr. Byron Nelson. He used to say it all the time. Life is like a GPS. You have to put in a destination. If not, you're not going to go anywhere. And so it is important to be clear on what you want. Like if you say you're hungry, okay, well, there's a lot of things to eat, so what would you like to eat? What would you like to read? What would you like to accomplish? And I know that people watching today or tomorrow, your dreams, deep down what you'd like to do. We just sometimes, with everything that's happening in the world or whatever reason, we kind of like lose belief that these things can be accomplished. So today, I'm telling you, they can be accomplished, and it is by starting with goal setting, right?
100%. And so here's the thing. The way we've been taught to set goals, so exactly what you're saying. If you're going to order, we're not doing drive-through, because the places that do drive-through, it's all junk food. But if you're going to order from, I don't know, a delivery service from your food, you're not going to call up and say, oh, whatever you think. I just want to eat. Just you tell me what you think I should eat. No, you're going to call up and say, I want, this kind of salad and this kind of chicken and this kind of, right? Like you're actually going to they need to know what it is that you want.
Right.
In the same way, you need to know what you want. But here's the thing. We've been taught, have you heard of SMART goals?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the specific, measurable, actionable, relatable, I can't remember, relative, and time. And it's SMART goals are great for very specific short-term goals. And what they also do is they set off a different part of the brain, the masculine part of the brain, that we can go check. And it's very achievement oriented. It's very linear, right? Every time we go in a straight line, just like, you know, we all have masculine and feminine in us, some more than others. In our Western world, we have been ignoring the feminine way of doing things because we're all, you know, we exercise like men and we want to get to the top, and we, you know, like we're constantly told that the masculine way of doing things is the correct way because that's what we're modeling. When we do that, we ignore elements of the feminine body, of the feminine energy, which sounds like woo-woo and intangible, but that actually creates different hormones in our bodies.
Wow.
Right? It actually creates different hormones. Did you know it wasn't until the 1990s that, you know, you've heard a lot about like the evolutionary theory and that the cavemen did this. If they had a saber-toothed tiger outside of their cave, they had the fight or flight response. It wasn't until 1990s that a woman in UCLA, a scientist, a researcher, said, you know, all of these studies of evolutionary theory have only looked at men. I wonder if it's different for women. Only in the 90s, which is relatively recently.
Yeah, it's not that long ago.
Yeah, and they actually found that what happens is, yes, it is true that cavemen, when they had a fear response, they would have a cortisol and adrenaline spike that would have them go into fight or flight mode. But women, when we have cortisol and adrenaline spike, before going into fight or flight mode, we actually go into something else called the tend and befriend. And just think of it. The barn is on fire and all the animals, you know, or the Titanic is sinking. The men are all either frozen in fear, or they're all ready to fight, or they're running off. What are the women doing? Bring the children, gather the animals, bring more blankets. We're going to tend. We are going to tend to each other and befriend each other. So when we are most stressed and when we actually need to bring in the most, when we are the most effective is never actually when we're trying to fight off stress with more stress. And that's what the SMART goals do. The SMART goals are very good for short term, just like a fear response. Get it done.
Right.
What women need is to see in a long term. We need to sort of tend and befriend. So instead of SMART goals, I call them heart goals. We actually have to make our goals coming from our heart.
Right.
So let's do it together. So the heart goals actually stand for health, experiences, achievements, relationships, and then the time that you want to have those happen. Because if any of those things, the health, the experiences, the achievements, and the relationships aren't there, then we actually start to have more of a stress response. That's when you see women start to age prematurely, or if they're younger, they might have fertility issues, or they might have things, you know, the response in women needs an oxytocin heart that's made in this area. We need that nurturing. So let's do it together. Let's Jessica, choose. Would you like to do a health, an experience, an achievement, or relationship goal just as for fun? Let's do for fun.
Okay, health.
Okay. Now let's do this. To close your eyes, if you're invited to close your eyes, anyone who's watching on Facebook Live is invited to close their eyes. And just for a moment, picture yourself as a 90-year-old woman. This 90-year-old woman what kind of activities does she do every day? You as a 90-year-old vibrant, well, are you vibrant? A 90-year-old Jessica, are you a vibrant woman?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have some sort of activity and healthy thing that you do every day as a 90-year-old woman?
I just pictured myself with my cane and dancing.
Dancing?
Because I love to dance, and I'm still dancing at 90 years old because I'm enjoying life.
Yeah, perfect. I love that. So now close your eyes with me one moment again. When you are a 90-year-old woman, you have the cane, but you don't really need it, right? It's more like a prop, right? You're dancing. What kind of are you doing? What kind of music is going on? What kind of dancing? Are you barefoot? Are you in high heels? Is it more in the kind of like a salsa merengue kind of sexy? Or is it more like a belly dancing kind of, barefoot and sort of more exotic? Or is it more like a primal, wild kind of African?
It was more like summer clothes with my little sneakers and like Latin music. In the hot.
And it's hot. And you're one sexy 90-year-old woman, right?
Yes.
Probably have a 50-year-old boyfriend, or maybe 4 of them. I don't know, maybe a 30-year-old. So now you pictured yourself as 90-year-old Jessica, and that feels really good, right? That feels really good.
Right.
Now, I don't know how old you are, but I know you're not 90. I know you're far from that. But what's it going to take for the next 40, 50, 60 years, however long it takes for you to be 90, for you to achieve that kind of health at 90? What's it going to take for the next 50 years, 60 years, let's say, of you doing right? Yeah. So are you doing today in 2021 what it's going to take for you to be that 90-year-old woman?
I am somewhat.
So you say somewhat, oh, perfect, because you set a goal for your health. So that's what I'm wondering. Let's see, can there be something that you do in 2021?
I have started already all
Oh,
week.
tell me.
All this week, we've started the routine with my daughter, even though the school hasn't started again, but we kind of like, like the school would be happening anyways. So every day, 30 minutes, we go outside, we go for a walk, or we play in the park.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. And that's a wonderful thing to do for your health, and a wonderful commitment to make to your daughter. I want you to make for you to be the 90-year-old Jessica, because the goals that you're going to set is going to be for you. Right. And so how do we get you dancing today? Now we're going to make a commitment and accountability for you to start dancing today, because that's the thing that you saw 90-year-old Jessica doing. So it's going to be true to you. So how can we get you accountable to do what kind of dancing can you commit to for 2021?
Well, we also do on the weekends, like the dancing sessions with the kids. So we will put the TV, the YouTube videos, and we'll just be dancing the whole family together. So we usually do that on the weekends.
Amazing, amazing. And how can you add it? Where can you add dancing? Like actually committed. I want like for you to say 40, like for instance, for me, I just got certified in yoga teacher training. Like I'm a yoga teacher now. So for me, even before January, I committed that I'm going to do 40 days of yoga every day. 7 o'clock in the morning, I go and do an hour of yoga every single day. Now I've set it up for myself to have accountability in there. I can't leave, the situation as it is. I'm not leaving the house. I'm not going to a studio. I'm not paying studio. Right. So I'm taking the same money, because it's an investment, the same investment I would have made in a gym or in a yoga studio. And every week that I finish the whole week of yoga every day, I'm giving myself a prize, a reward. And I'm giving myself around the same amount that I would have paid for the week in a yoga studio. Wow. Which is not like, I look at that and I go, oh, I can't buy that. I can't. But then I think, no, I'm training myself to want to do yoga every day, because last week I got a new yoga mat. This week I ordered from a friend of mine on Etsy a beautiful necklace that she made from stones. So
Wow.
little things like that. So this is what, like, you have to start tricking your brain to want to do something so much that not doing it becomes painful.
I love it. I
Yeah.
hope that the people that are watching did the same exercise. And if you didn't, I will have you say the website again. But on her website, she
Yeah.
created specially for this call today, I'm so grateful, a short PDF where it's, yes, you have it there,
Yeah.
where you have what exactly we just explained. Do you want to share a bit more about it?
Yeah, just that you go through this is you can actually print it off. You go to meravrichter.com/goals. I made it especially for you. If you go to my website, you won't see it. You have to put /goals in order to get it. And then you sign on. You have this PDF. You can print it out, and then you can write for yourself. And normally, when I go through a workshop with people, then they go through each one of those areas, HEART. And we put them so that there's time bound, so that for your health goals, we're going to figure out something. What are you going to do this month? What are you going to do in 6 months? What are you going to do in 3 years, in 5 years? And then for your lifetime, which is that 90-year-old woman, how you see, for experience goals, for achievements, and for relationships. And everyone always picks health as the first one that they want to do. And that's great, because without your health, you can't have the experiences, the achievements, and the relationships that you want. So,
oh my God, I love it. And that was going to be my next question about the timeline, but you just explained it. So love it. Welcome to all of you watching live. If you're watching live, type live. Chrissy says, Happy New Year, ladies. And thank you to be there and sharing your inspiring stories. Your special guest is Fire. Wow. Yay. Hey, Driss. Hey, Libus. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Share this with your family and friends. Let's join this conversation, have that conversation together. We're talking about goal setting, and you share the PDF. Thank you again for doing that. I know it's very, very, very valuable. So we talked about why we should set goals. 2021, it's not too late, even if it's 6 days. No, do it today. Be clear on what you want. You've heard this before. You have not, because you ask not, because you're not clear on what you want. So I'm inviting you to be clear on what you want. And then you went into why people fail in their New Year's resolution. And I love what you just shared with the heart goal. So thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's shift a little bit the conversation, because you've been a flight attendant for 25 years. This is a special edition of the flight attendant. And I also want to get into more conversation about what you're doing now with this whole pandemic. We haven't been flying, both of us. So how did well, first of all, how's it been to be flying for 25 years? I know you talked about it at the beginning, but I want to hear some more.
Because it really is, it becomes, it's a lifestyle, and it becomes so, it's such a part of my identity and a part of your identity. And we just, it's a part of my life, and a really, like I said, like a formative part of my life. I have so much gratitude to the career, to the path. I actually started at the airline. I don't know if we should say, you mentioned it before. I'll keep it anonymous.
It's all good.
When I was 19 years old, I was in my first year of university. And I literally just past 25 years, I actually got it during, as we were beginning the lockdown. I got a beautiful package in the mail with my pin, and I was so proud. But I wanted to have sympathy and empathy. I didn't want to come on Facebook and say, like, look, I was celebrating inside. But of course it was bittersweet, because I would have loved to celebrate with my colleagues and with my friends.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Today, okay? All of you that are watching, let's do happy 25 years. Congrats. Let's celebrate.
Thank you.
Yay.
And as you know, and flight attendants and people who aren't flight attendants will love hearing, like, being the fly on the wall with flight attendants. I started before 9/11. You know, I started when we didn't have cell phones. I bought myself a pager, but in those days, everybody who had a pager was a drug dealer. And I was like, but then the crew scheduling would beep you and then you'd have to find a phone. So you could never really be out of the house. It was very, very different and very interesting. And, I remember the days that there was smoking on board. By the time I came, that was illegal, but there were other airlines that were still doing it. It was, or you'd hear the stories of the other flight attendants, who would talk about it. It was very interesting, and it's beautiful to see the change that's happened through the years. And I feel really honored to be part of this, almost like there's a legacy. It's like there's a sisterhood of flight attendants that we all support each other. Like I said at the beginning, we're this bubbly, like it's not just on board, we're actually this, we actually are like this. It's been a lovely, beautiful, lovely, without a doubt, I have loved every moment of it. And I have inspired so many people to go become flight attendants, because really, best job in the world.
Same here.
And, yeah. And I also knew that that time would have to come to an end eventually. So I started doing my writing, I'm building my side business. Right. I have 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl. And so they were little, and I knew that when I got to that 25 years, I wanted to, which is where we are now, I wanted to leave something more than just, that I went to work and came back. And I had a lot of the great fortune of being in the training center at the airline, having a lot of different experiences that wasn't just flying. So it's been lovely. But I also knew I wanted to leave something that was a legacy and something for myself and my own mental stimulation. And I started writing 7 years ago. And then I started working with a coach, and I called it my 6-year plan. And that became my sexier plan that I was reverse engineering when I got to that 25-year mark. Right. I was 6 years away, or, sexier, right? It became sexier. And my sexier plan was, well, once I leave the airline, if I choose to leave the airline, then I'm going to do that thing, which is my work of heart, my passion, which is having kind of the same essence that we had as flight attendants in our galley talk, but empowering people to tell those stories, even on a larger scale. So now I help coaches and speakers and thought leaders to build their story bank and to write their game-changing books. So, it's getting those stories, pulling those gems out of them.
And I can actually share how we met. We started connecting was actually, I made a post on our Facebook aviation family looking for action editor or some help, because I have a project in mind that I will accomplish in 2021. And you responded to that post, so that's how we connected. So thank you again for accepting to be on the show today, being the first flight attendant of this series. Woohoo! And
I didn't know I'm the first.
And both of us being best selling authors is just amazing. So woohoo!
Beautiful synchronicity.
I love it. I also love that you shared with me that you decided to take the time off, because you would be flying right now with your seniority, with your number of years in the industry, but you decided to take that decision to take the time off to focus on what you just shared. So my question was, how did you use the COVID to transition into that, and how has it been for you?
So I'll say the decision came on from a few different thought streams. Right. One of them is, yes, that I kind of thought, well, I've been meaning to do this other business, and so let me see if I dedicate all of this time to that. Let me see how I can make that. If I even like my feet on the ground, let me feel into this. The second reason was also, if I can build another business and let somebody else keep their job, then if I can take that little break until the airline gets back on its feet, but somebody else can keep their job and they really need it, then let me do that. And then the third reason is I also have 3 kids, as I mentioned, 2 boys and a girl. My daughter actually is also diagnosed with autism. So it's not that that makes any, do you hear my dog barking? Yeah. Not that that makes any difficulty, or it's not that that makes it like a disability in the sense of anything to do with COVID, but there is a little bit of possibly with the changes that are occurring that she might really need somebody, need me to be at home. And that element of not really knowing, like all of that uncertainty, I really decided that this is the time that I should be here for my family, for my home, not travel during this time and really build, like, see what it is to be working from home. And I've enjoyed this time tremendously, and it's been beautiful. And I certified in yoga teacher training, which I wanted to do for 20 years, and built this online course, this business, and started working with clients. And it's just been a beautiful, beautiful journey.
Awesome. I have a question that just popped up. Do you have any plans of writing another book?
Yes, lots of them. Lots of them. Yeah. Yes. If you want to ask, I'm happy. Well, you know what? No. We'll keep it as a mystery. We will have another call, you and I. Remember, we were saying that there will be a reason for another call. So we'll talk about books in our next call on book creation. And
that's true. Perfect. I love that. All right. So 2021, building your business, you getting the coaching and inspiring people to write their own books. And so what would you say to somebody watching that, they probably have that dream inside of them of writing, or maybe they're saying, I'm probably not good enough. What would you say to them?
So first of all, I'll say that whole thing of you're not good enough, I'm not good enough. So let me just say that falls under, what people say is the imposter syndrome. I call it the resistance. Actually, I call it the itty bitty shitty committee. Unless there are kids around, then I say the itty bitty pity committee. That's in your brain. And in fact, it's in everyone. So just so you know, even the most highly regarded authors, New York Times bestsellers, talented people with amazing stories, they start out saying, oh, nobody really wants to hear what I have to say. Right. I'm not really interesting. I don't really have anything to say. And let me tell you, nothing could be further from the truth. That resistance, that voice of the resistance or the itty bitty shitty committee is going to be the thing that's going to keep you from actually sharing your story, because what you'll think is that your story should sound like her story, which is more interesting, or his story, which is more, sort of dynamic, more wilder story. And you'll start to put your story into their experience. And that's going to be the thing, the barrier that's going to keep people from falling in love with your story. The biggest, and again, every single person has this. It is literally every single author who I've worked with, and some of them who have had their books made into movies. They start out thinking, oh, this sounds like it's not well written and it doesn't sound interesting. Right. Every single person. So just know that if you have the resistance and the voice that tells you you're not good enough, so does everyone else.
Right.
So why bother listening to it? It's boring.
Bye. That boy. Bye-bye.
Bye. Shutting you down. End call.
That's it. And I want to add that we all have so many stories to share. Oh my God. And for those that have been following me, you've heard me say this before, is my transition in 2018 from, starting writing and starting to be an entrepreneur and all those amazing things that I've been doing was because I read a story in a book from my coach that I worked with, Haley Patry. I read her story and I felt so connected. I'm like, oh my God, she's like, she went through what I went through, and I started working with her. So it was complete shift and transition in my life because Haley decided that she would share her story. So I'm inviting you to share your story. Hello, Peely. She's sending us a lot of love. She says, hello, beautiful sisters. Yes, we do. Hello, Mazan and Jalat. If you're watching live, type live in the comments, share and interact with us. It's really amazing. So did you want to say something?
I'm doing like this, waving hi to people. You have access to see who's live. I don't, so I'm just giving everyone lots of love.
Yeah, I always keep my phone because I like to see, who's on their live. But share your story. So take that leap and start with setting your goals. Yeah. We gave you today an amazing tool to start setting your goals, right? Yeah. I also shared this morning on my Instagram to invest in yourself because you'll be your best and greatest investment. What do I mean? I wouldn't be the woman I am today if I didn't invest in courses, in private coaches, and I'm sure you'll share the same what I'm saying. So you heard what Merav is doing, with everything with your business and all your experience. So my call to action today, take action, write down your goals and invest in yourself, right?
Yeah. And I just want to add to that. I agree 100% with what you're saying. Even the sharing your own personal story, as you said, with your coach, you read it in a book and you related with her own personal story, and that had you get into action around writing your story. And I'll add to that. It's very important also to share those kind of thought leader, personal development, that kind of story. But my first book was a novel.
Right.
It was a fiction. And my daughter and I wrote a fiction together, and that shifted our identity. So it's not even, it's not just for those kind of personal development or self-help or that kind of story. It's literally I was empowering women.
Right.
And my number one woman got empowered. The shift that you make, you don't realize until you've actually seen your work out there. Something cosmic happens, and permission to get woo-woo. Okay, I'm gonna completely get woo-woo.
Perfect.
But there are little thought clouds that actually looks almost like bubbles, like on your shirt. There are thought clouds that exist in the ethers, and they are looking for a home. They're literally looking to imprint and implant in a human thought.
Right.
And if you're kind of resisting and covering those thoughts up and going, no, not me, I'm not good enough. Not me, I'm not good enough. That brilliant idea goes, okay, I'll take it to a willing participant, a willing human, a willing mind and heart. Someone who's like, I wonder what I should write. I'd love some ideas. That bubble, that thought bubble, that little inspiration, that vibration goes, okay, here you go. And suddenly you go, oh, I just had a great idea. I just thought of something. And now you're actually in communication. You're actually honoring that download, that thought bubble, that little cellular connection. And so when you're honoring that, then it goes, oh, here's a person because did you ever notice that some people, who they create like a brilliant invention, they also create 40 more brilliant inventions. The person who writes a brilliant book writes 40 more brilliant books. And you think, how are they so talented? How did they get so much luck? How did they happen to be at the right place at the right time?
They are so talented, right? That's what we hear.
But it's because they opened.
Right.
They went like, okay, give me an idea. I'm not resisting it. And as soon as you start to develop that relationship with those thought forms, those ideas that exist, you are inviting them in.
Oh my God.
Start.
Me, visual person, like, can visualize what you're saying.
Yes. And you have to just start. Yeah.
And then speaking it into existence, right? We talked
yes.
about that. So you get that idea and you're speaking.
100%. You want to hear something cool?
Let me just.
Yeah.
Okay, go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, say hi.
Because
We'll
I have
leave them on a
Melanie.
cliffhanger.
Melanie says, great live. Hello, Rasmo. Then Pilisi, yes, indeed. Thank you all for watching. I love it. So sorry.
And then here's the one more. People are going to love this. And you could actually like tweet this, hashtag this, send it to me, But you know the words abracadabra, right? What do you think of when you think of abracadabra?
Magician.
Magician, exactly. Well, we are all magicians. Abracadabra is literally Hebrew, ancient Hebrew, for I create what I speak. Abracadabra. You speak it and it becomes created like magic, like you are the magician. Abracadabra, literally the magicians heard that and went, I create what I speak. That's magic.
I love it. And Gordon So is watching. Mr.
Hi,
Gordon So, hello, awesome you. One of my mentors as far as my author project. So thank you for being so awesome. And he loves what you just shared. And then Peely as well, the little dancing and the fire.
Yeah.
She's that energy vibration.
A genie. Yeah.
A
I'm a genie in a bottle, baby.
I love it. All right, we're going to start wrapping up the call. How can people best reach you? Come on. I know you want more information, and you want to get your PDF because you want to do your heart goals, right?
Exactly. So I will say, because this is live and I know that it's recorded, and so if you're watching live today, January 6th, then it is perfect timing, because tomorrow I will be presenting, so January 7th at 2 p.m. Eastern. It will go everywhere else in the world because it's all virtual, but it happens at 2 p.m. Eastern, January 7th, where I'm presenting this Golden Touch goal setting workshop in collaboration with Staples. And so if you want, I can put it actually in the comments under this live afterwards, or you can come to my Facebook. And so you'll actually get to see the actual whole workshop of the Golden Touch. And if you would like to have your own PDF of this that you can print out and fill out your own heart goals, then go to meravrichter.com. This is only for you. You won't find it on my website. meravrichter.com/goals. Easy. And then just to connect with me, gosh, I'd love for you all to come find me on Facebook or Instagram or my website. Connect with me. I'd love to hear from you. Merav Richter everywhere.
So much energy and love. I love it. I love it. So every week, what I do is I share this Facebook, I share this video, this live onto my Women Empowerment by Jessica DSB. And then I'll have Merav in the comments share everything that she just shared, so you'll have all the information there. Melanie says, oh, I love that, abracadabra. And then Gordon says, big hugs and shout out to the both of you. Woo! Pili says, yes, please, let's connect. So connect, girls. I love this. So I'll share the 2 quotes that I picked for today, and then I'll let you close off this call. And yes, I am longer today. For those that have been following me, normally the call is 45 minutes, but I knew we had so much valuable information. So maybe, who knows, this year I'll go for an hour. But
wild.
This one here, it is longer, and I love you and I appreciate all of you. So the most effective way to do it is just to do it. Amelia Earhart. I think it really goes to the planning of the goals, and just do it, because obviously if we take the health goals, yes, I'm setting up to walk every day, and probably one day I'll be like, I don't feel like it. Just do it. Because I know that at 90 years old, I want to be dancing and healthy, right? And then one of my favorite quotes that's linked to the aviation is, the bad news, time flies, but the good news is that you're the pilot. Be the pilot of your life. You can even with this whole pandemic where we feel that we don't have any control on so many levels, and we don't, that's the truth, but there's so many ways and aspects we can still be that pilot. So I'm inviting you to do that, because life is beautiful and there's so much to be grateful for. So my message for today. I'll let you close off, and before you do that, let me just read. Peely says, sending you both much love and everlasting blessing. Mwah! Much blessing to you. Congrats again. She was the winner of getting my free copy of my 365 empowering stories. Can't afford the luxury of a negative thought. Woo! So excited. I'm mailing it to you tomorrow. So
lovely.
Let's hear the last few words you'd like to share to close off this call today.
Well, I actually was going to completely random. I write these love letters from life every single morning. I meditate and then I take them around the world, by the way, and take a picture of me somewhere on layover there. And then I leave them there and I let people find them. Wow. And so I'm going to just pull a random love letter from life. Okay, you tell me when to stop, as if we're doing like a tarot reading.
Okay, that one.
Here?
Yeah.
Everything you encounter is a doorway into the labyrinth of discovery of the mystery of your being. Jessica, that's the message for you. Everything, I'm going to take a picture and send it to you. Everything is a mystery, is the discovery of the mystery of your being.
I love it. Do you want to share something else to close off, or that's it?
Yeah. And you know what? Sure, I will. Because you said the pilot of your, and in 2020 and now 2021, yes, we feel like we haven't really been in control, but you are the author of your own life story. And what is a story without a few ups and downs, without a few hitches? I mean, would you watch a movie that was all one straight line the whole way? No, that would be boring. So you're the author of this story, and sometimes there have to be a few challenges in the story just to see how you navigate through them. That makes a more interesting story and a more interesting life. So you'll be the 90-year-old telling people about that really wild time that you had. How's that for story?
Love it. I love you. Oh my God. Thank you again for being on the show today. Thank you for being the first one of my special edition of Flight Attendants. I will be back every Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with a flight attendant, fellow colleagues, fellow family, sharing, all what's been happening in the last year and what we've been up to in our lives. We have been the most impacted industry, and I think it's important for us to share all of that and all the fun stuff as well, right? Hello, Sylvie. Peely says, thank you so much for awesome live. Melanie says, well, I guess my movie would be very interesting. Mine too. My friends from high school, they love my movie. So let's do it, girl. Thank you again. Happy Wednesday. See you next week. Thank you again, lovely. Mwah.
Thank you. It was an honor. Thank you.
If you have enjoyed today's episode, please share with the people that you love and care about. Jessica DSB.